When evaluating the success of a utility-scale solar project, the energy sector tends to fixate on the most visible phases: development and construction. The massive deployment of heavy machinery and the rapid assembly of steel and silicon give the illusion that grid connection is the finish line. But the physical build is merely a brief preamble. Once the dust settles and the heavy equipment rolls off-site, the actual life of the project begins. This chart shows the complete life cycle of a grid-scale asset. The 1 to 3 years spent on development and construction are eclipsed by a massive operational window lasting up to 35 years. It is during this multi-decade phase, operation and maintenance, that the asset's true financial value is realized or lost. Historically, O&M was viewed as a passive requirement, a series of reactive physical repairs executed only when a component visibly failed. Modern operation has discarded that model. Today, it is an active, highly structured engineering discipline, driven by continuous, real-time data acquisition and strict remote oversight. Institutional lenders model their financing on a specific yield projection. Mastering the daily complexities of this long-term operational phase is the only proven method to actually hit those projections and secure the baseline financial viability of the asset. The ultimate metric for that financial viability is the levelized cost of electricity, or LCOE. It measures the total lifetime cost of building and operating the plant, divided by the total energy it produces. Over 3 decades, a single degraded string or an undetected inverter fault might seem minor, but a persistent 1% efficiency loss compounds annually, aggressively driving up the total lifetime cost of the energy produced. For independent power producers and the banks financing them, this compounding loss threatens their core financial objective, the return on investment. This chart shows the inverse correlation at the heart of solar economics. As O&M efficiency and response times increase, the LCOE reliably drops, stabilizing the expected return on investment. That stabilized LCOE is non-negotiable. It is the exact threshold required to guarantee the strict tariffs set inside a long-term power purchase agreement. Securing those margins over decades demands rigorous day-to-day physical control, down to the individual module level, often spanning massive land areas. Executing that control requires a highly specific operational architecture, isolated duties for different stakeholders, rigid mathematical limits on downtime, and predictive technologies that flag failures before they happen. Efficient O&M functions as the primary engineering mechanism for defending the asset's multi-decade profitability. Operating a grid-scale plant demands a strict separation of technical and administrative disciplines. Blurring these lines leads to reporting errors, delayed maintenance, and eventual financial penalties. To prevent this, operations are divided into a strict tripartite model. This chart details the first pillar, technical asset management. The asset manager serves as the interface between the physical plant and the financial stakeholders. They report to owners and lenders, manage equipment warranties, and ensure the facility complies with all local regulatory codes. Below the asset manager sits the second pillar, the operations provider. This is the central nervous system bridging the gap between the field and finance. Operations teams run the remote SCADA monitoring systems. They ingest raw telemetry, calculate the array's real-time performance, and act as the central dispatch hub to coordinate physical interventions. That dispatch order is handed directly to the final pillar, the maintenance provider. Operating at the field level, the maintenance provider executes the physical, mechanical, and electrical work. Their interventions on site are strictly dictated by the data analyzed by operations. Isolating these 3 roles creates a functional chain of command. Without it, raw plant telemetry can never efficiently translate into targeted physical repairs or accurate financial reports. Every physical action taken by the maintenance provider starts as an electrical signal. Raw metrics flow from individual PV modules, pass through the inverters, record onto local data loggers, and finally push up to a central monitoring portal. But an alarm on a screen is just raw data. It carries no weight until operations mathematically transforms it into strict key performance indicators, dictating exactly how fast a team must react. This chart tracks a system fault. The starting line is the acknowledgement time. The clock starts the exact millisecond an alarm registers, measuring how long it takes for a human operator to confirm the alert. That confirmation triggers the intervention time, tracking the exact delay before a technician physically reaches the site. Together, these two metrics bracket into the total response time. Converting physical inverter failures into strict response time KPIs removes ambiguity. It forces legal accountability onto the O&M provider, ensuring that a simple blown fuse does not result in days of compounding generation loss. Response times matter because they directly impact the single most critical KPI for any utility-scale solar asset: system availability. This chart shows the distinction in how downtime is measured. The top bar represents technical availability. This is the raw physical reality of the plant, measuring all hours of generation downtime, regardless of the underlying cause. The bottom bar represents contractual availability. This is a modified legal metric designed to protect the O&M provider. It mathematically subtracts any downtime that falls completely outside of their physical control. If a severe hailstorm shatters a string of panels, or the national utility grid experiences a blackout, the plant shuts down. By legally classifying these extreme environmental events and grid failures as external variables, the operator is shielded from unfair financial penalties. Establishing this legal protection is an industry standard. In fact, institutional lenders demand a minimum guaranteed contractual availability of 98% annually before they will even approve project financing. Distinguishing between the physical downtime of the array and the contractual liability of the operator dictates exactly who absorbs the financial damages when the grid fails. Keeping that availability above 98% requires executing maintenance in the field. The traditional baseline is preventive maintenance, rigid annual inspection plans designed to satisfy basic equipment warranties. When those baseline inspections aren't enough, operators rely on corrective maintenance, the purely reactive process of deploying technicians to restore components only after they have catastrophically failed. But waiting for a component to break destroys system availability. The modern approach relies heavily on predictive maintenance, driven by continuous remote data analysis and automation to catch failures early. Advanced aerial drones equipped with thermal imaging cameras can sweep across massive arrays in a fraction of the time it would take a ground crew, scanning the panels in precise grids. This diagram shows how that thermal data feeds directly into automated diagnostic algorithms. The software maps string degradation and pinpoints isolated red anomaly spots on individual modules long before physical symptoms appear to the naked eye. This predictive capability changes the operational timeline. Operators can order parts and schedule precise component replacements during off-peak hours, resolving the degradation without causing unexpected grid interruptions. Aerial thermography and automated analytics provide the essential defensive precision required to maintain 98% contractual availability. A utility-scale solar plant exists as a highly calibrated financial instrument, entirely secured by operational rigor. This diagram outlines the operational loop. The flow of physical data from predictive maintenance dictates strict mathematical KPIs. These KPIs define the asset's contractual availability, verifying the 98% threshold month after month across its 35-year lifespan. Hitting or missing that availability metric automatically triggers the final phase of the loop, the allocation of performance bonuses or strict liquidated damages mapped out within the service level agreement. Protecting this contractual pipeline requires unhindered, transparent data access between all stakeholders, safeguarded by the strict implementation of a cybersecurity management system to prevent digital disruption. Fusing predictive engineering in the field, isolated stakeholder management in the office, precise KPI mathematics in the contract, operators create a closed system. This operational triad is the ultimate guarantor of a solar asset's long-term levelized cost of electricity.